Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara. All relations. Today we're speaking about writer's block, okay? If you're struggling with originality, if you're struggling with creative blocks or writer's block, it means you have a lot of static in your mind right now and you're overthinking it, perhaps even going into a perfectionism of how this product needs to look, how this task needs to be. So the first thing you want to do is zoom out, release all attachment to it. More engaged than everyone, but attached to nothing. That's the code, okay? So if you can stay in this liminal pocket, and if you can stay in the challenge skills ratio in terms of the flow state, you'll start to bridge yourself into this pocket, this flow state, where everything unfolds so naturally and it starts clicking. And your quirks, your idiosyncrasies, that's just a part of that. It's a part of that equation. It's not separate from it. It makes it what it is. So don't try to make the blank page your God. It's the forge. Your originality has to be created and remixed with. You see, a lot of people, they just stick to their niche. They kind of just study their own industry jargons, and they stick to very predictable measures instead of following their soul blueprint, their soul essence, going towards something that expands us and fills us with absolute awareness and authenticity. And I truly believe this is the new phase of new earth leadership. What enlightenment truly is, or self-realization truly is this deep, authentic expression of aliveness from a different perception, possibly, or a different way of looking at this. So when you're just pulling out a blank page and you're looking at it, you don't need to study it. You need to just unwind and allow whatever is coming up to come up first. So have a few draft pages where you start exploring, maybe through your social media feed. You can take a look through and notice all the different videos you're following, all the different algorithms you're spiking through all the different choices that you're making. You'll start to understand that my mind is not very straightforward, right? It's quite fragmented. It has many choices and categories and so forth. But what if you were to read a little bit of street poetry, mixed with then scripture, mixed with then someone's scribbled notebook texts, mixed with someone's work who was unpublished, mixed with some random article you read somewhere, mixed with a magazine that is very rare to find, okay? So as you start looking at all of these different dimensions and you start blending them together, you'll start to find this power naturally emerge. And once you emerge with this power, there's no writer's block, okay? There's just writer tsunami. Okay, the valve is going to open up once you realize you don't need to hold yourself back so much. You're thinking about how will it impact this person? How will it, serve my audience? What is the best trending niche? What is the best keywords to use? All of this kind of stuff is not going to allow you to just tap in and dial in with your thoughts, words, movement, breath, language. Everything is in synergy. Everything synchronizes properly for you, so that you can express your greatest self. So you can try this. Put on a word generator online, right? Give yourself random words. Forest. You start writing about a forest. Another word generator. pear. There was a pear in the forest. You link those two together. What you're doing is you're linking two seemingly different things together. That linking quality is your mind seeking structure, seeking creativity, seeking some solution, right? Some solace, some conclusion, some closure. So keep looking and connect the dots internally until you find that the end product is already complete. You just have to tap into the idea of the wish fulfilled and reverse engineer it. What do they do in Vajrayana Buddhism? They imagine, well, they actually envision and immerse themselves with a deity, right? Where them and the deity are no more different. So therefore, you are the artist, but you are also the art. You got to understand this, where awareness and action merge, you tap into the zone. So you are the painter that will become the painting. You are the writer that becomes his or her words. And if you're a writer, you could be writing everywhere. You could be writing everywhere, and yet you choose not to. You choose not to practice the very craft that you're trying to implement it. But if you're a writer, you gotta write even on the little napkins and receipts you get. Anywhere there's a little brochure, there's an empty little page somewhere. You get that impetus anywhere. It doesn't necessarily mean I have to get all the right equipment, I have to get all the right props. Only then can I begin. Only then can I start this project. No. You're giving yourself too many options. You need to chime in, find your flow, and start writing. It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to write, a bestseller right away, but get writing. Start with some drafts. Go from one page to another page, and slowly you'll start noticing there's this weird invisible roadway that's emerging in front of me right now. Right? You've just kind of allowed the Tao to chart a path for you. And I think this is very powerful because once you can remain there, in that flux, in that adaptability, you start finding these fresh stream of ideas and creative insights that start plopping into your head because you're not forcing yourself to solve them anymore. If you're thinking, what character should I use in this story? That's the wrong question. What character belongs in this story that I should discover, right? It's about revealing. It's about remembering and revealing. It's about channeling and summoning, right? It's about utilizing your very essence, your imagination, your communication, and your authenticity, all coinciding to create this epic, epigenetic character that is in front of you, right? And you can access this character through understanding what you're drawn to, what you're aversive to, and then break down and break away from the persona archetype more into the formless essence of the archetype that you are embodying. So life can sometimes feel very empty because we constantly end up on this chasing paradigm. But when the chasing stops, all that remains is you, right? As we learned from Uncle Makara yesterday. Well, the actual Uncle Makara is Uncle Makara, it's my moniker, but I mean the Hindu sea monster, the Makara whom I channeled on my birthday yesterday. So the choice here is very simple. In order for you to be an original, you got to create your own Venn diagrams, your own levels of overlap that no one else has access to because no one else is you. You might have such a unique background where you have a background, like I have a background in hip hop, in acting, in psychology, in editing, videos, pictures. What else do I have a background in? Bunch of other things that I can't, remember right, like esoteric information, right? So I've bridged all of my interests by mapping and mind mapping and constantly creating these diagrams, okay? Where I started to find the overlaps within everything. And this overlap mentality is similar to Bruce Lee back there who created Jeet Kune Do, if you understand it. Right? Studying from all these different genres, these different walks of life, these different ways or path workings So similarly, I chose to follow that understanding through my own spiritual path too. Because I understand spirit is uncomparable, is undeniable, and it cannot be competed with, because it simply is. And every single divinity or deva is a fragment of this divine source, this Parabrahma. And if you can feel into that and understand that pure awareness, where you can remain the witness and understand, all it takes is me just going through this fire right now, doing this very awkward, vulnerable act of creation. And can I still keep the ball rolling? Can I still keep the momentum moving forward? You see, we've got to protect our momentum, guys. You've got to protect your momentum, protect your time, protect your energy. You got to protect your mind, and protect your money, and protect your time, and protect your energy. If you understand this, you will not become broke. I'm telling you. This is the way out of it. Is by understanding that you need to double down on a principle, on a philosophy of your life. Make that the cornerstone, make that the foundation. Make that something that emerges from the rubble. We need to create our temples amidst this chaos. Now, as you may see me as a reflection of a holy man, I must go to remind you that I'm just like you. And all I'm doing is accessing the very intelligence and the spirit that is flowing through you too. Everybody has access to spiritual encounters, this essence of creativity that's so natural once you finally get it, that nature is the most creative. That our natural reason for us to be created by the Creator is to create. And so why are we constantly consuming? Why are we constantly doing the opposite of our natural intention? Our most effortless way forward. Because the mind adds more mind, and then there's more mind on top of that mind. And everywhere you're gonna look, there's just going to be more marketing of the mind. Okay? Shout out to Thor, man, for this challenge. I'm getting a lot of insights from this. When your mind becomes sharp, crystal clear in its clarity, ideas stream in randomly. So ideas actually come from your silence. Your genius ideas will come from one random time that you spend out in nature or somewhere away from society. You're going to get the greatest ideas and revelations as an artist. Why? Less noise. This is why it's tougher to tap into that awakening, that flow state essence, that Kundalini essence in the middle of a big city with so much opinions, noise, and other people's EMI, ego, mind, identity, creating more static with yours. So I get it. If you're a writer in a big city, it's tough. But at the same time, you've been through the chaos. You've been through the darkness. You can handle it. Come on, now it's a piece of cake for you. Therefore, you can find time to meditate. You can find time to go inwards. And you can allow little ideas to just bubble up into the surface. Even if it's a mini idea. If you're curious enough to know the answer, it's worth exploring. If you're curious enough to know the answer, it is worth exploring. And if you're curious enough to know the answer, that means you're passionate about the answer. And that answer reveals your purpose for you. All you got to do is get back into that discovery mode. You know, that imaginative flow state quality that you had when you were a kid. There's so many distractions now, That's why it's so hard to be a millionaire nowadays. Because of so many distractions. How are we going to do it? Millionaires and billionaires are very crucial with their time. They're not messing around with their time. They're handing out no's left, right, and center. They've got to protect their garden. They've got to protect it. You got to start protecting your garden. You got to start telling people no. You got to start being more compassionate towards others and yourself. How are you going to experience other compassion without self-compassion? Have compassion for this being that has struggled for so many years. Have compassion for yourself for going through all of the trauma that you've been through. Ease with it so that you can create. And if you're at the edge of it, you're like, I don't know what's working, express that through your art. Right? Express that through your art. You are an alchemist. This is why you're here. Right? Oh, I'm struggling with COVID. Why not make that into art so that it helps others who are still struggling with that paradigm to get out of it still? Right? But again, we don't want to feed these old ideas either, right? There used to be a time where certain videos blew up on the internet. But if you got into the game early, you understand it. But then the rules of the game changed, and the rules keep changing and will keep changing. This is why you have to remain adaptable. Fluid like water, right? This is what I keep telling you guys. Because otherwise, you're going to get caught up in some stream that becomes very stagnant. And years later, you're going to be like, oh, I wish I have so many regrets. I wish I could have done this in life. I wish I could have done that. I really feel sad because of this. You'll start regretting and you'll start going back into your past and try to ruminate, and it'll bring you into a depression. Rather than what? An expression, an openness, right? A channel of openness where you can express outwardly to people. And they can hear your heart's calling. They can hear the wisdom behind the words. So whenever you have writer's block, just deal with that resistance head on. Give it a name. All right, resistance, I see you, I feel you. What do you want to express yourself as? Oh, come on now. Throat closing up, really? Right? I can completely change that through my mantras and humming and singing. Right? I have control. I am the instrument. So this is not mind against mind. It's surrender all to the heart and access mind-heart coherence. Okay, let's get it today. I hope this resonated with you. I hope this was important for you, whoever you are. Perhaps you're a writer, perhaps you're a creative, perhaps you're a healer, a trainer of sorts. Perhaps you just enjoy leveling up your life through all different holistic ways, okay? Whatever it is that you're going towards, I wish you the best on your own individualized potentiality, on your spiritual path, on your journey. Wish you all the best. May the flow be with you. Upward spiral gang to infinity and beyond. Let's get it today. Feels good to be 32, man. Let's go. Upward spiral. Boom.